Hello. In this demonstration I will use a grid to enlarge a drawing from my sketchbook. Now I have a drawing, an impression, an idea for a future project, which is a sculpture, a mixed media sculpture, and I would like the sculpture to be 31 centimeters high and 24 centimeters across. So I'm going to use a grid method that requires no mathematics, it's just all practical drawing. Now, to not to put lines across my drawing, I'm going to use a grid on some tracing paper. Now I'm going to position the grid there. So the grid is 12 columns going down, so that's why I put 1, 2, 3 to 12, and then across is 14 rows. So I've put letters there, and this will become more apparent as the demonstration goes on. So I really need to make this grid much bigger to the size I'm going to make the height of the finished sculpture. So I'll just put that to one side. Now I have here some paper, it could be paper, but I'm going to use card because the card will be then cut up to make a template. So I'm doing sculpture, not a painting. And this method can be used for lots of different variations on paintings or illustrations or drawings. So I've drawn out a box, and it's from 0 to 31 centimeters. So that's the height, 0 to 31 centimeters, and then a baseline, which is where the sculpture will be, which is 0 to 24 centimeters. Now I need to have 14 rows like the tracing I had. So it's 14 rows going that way and 12 columns going upwards. So the method I'm going to use, I'm not going to use mathematics or anything like that, I'm just going to do it practically. Now on my ruler I've got centimeters and imperial measurement. Now I'm going to use the imperial measurement, which is inches, which is convenient to the height of the height of the sculpture I want, and it just works out really well. So some rulers start right at the end. It's not right at the end, but this ruler starts probably a centimeter in. So that's the 0 point. So I'm going to put the line in the corner. So just make that clearer. In the corner. So that is in the corner. And then I'm going to swing, keeping that in the corner, this up until it hits 14. So the line bisects 14 inches. Now hopefully the camera has picked that up. And now I'm going to use a soft pencil, and every inch I'm going to put a dot, and I'm going to make it quite large so you can see it. I wouldn't normally make it that large, but you've got to see what I'm doing, so it's quite large. And I'll work all the way up. So I now have completed all the way up to 14 inches. Now I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. So I'm going to put the 0 into that corner and then swing this up, trying to do the best I can without moving it too much, and do the same thing. So you can see it. I'll remove the ruler in a minute so you can see it. So the camera should just about pick that up, hopefully. Now all I'm going to do is, because I want 14 rows, I'm now going to use my ruler and draw a line. So I'm joining the dots up essentially. Okay, now I have the 14 rows. I'm now going to do the 12 columns. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing, except instead of going to the top, which is where the 31 centimeters are, I'm going to go and do the sides, opposite sides. So I'm going to put it in the corner, which is the 0, and then I'm going to swing this up to the 12 mark. So that's 12 inches, so that's be 12 columns. So I'm going to do the same thing, trying to be as accurate as I possibly can. And then go to the opposite side, put 0 starting at 1, swing it to so it hits 12 there, and do the same thing. Now I'm going to draw the lines the other way. It's a bit confusing, but I think I can see it. Yes, there. And as you can see, a grid will now emerge. So what I'm going to do now is move on to a grid that I prepared earlier, and I'll just describe what I've got here. So as you can see, I've put the letters in, and we now have 14 rows. So the rows go that way, and at the top we have 1 to 12, which is the 12 columns which are going down. So that achieves what I hoped would be, is that it's 31 centimeters by 24. Now I started this so you could see how it looks when it's being drawn in. So I'll bring back my sketchbook, and I put some paper clips just to stop it sliding about. So I'm going to now show you the next stage as best I can. Okay, so if we look in column number 12, and then we look across to the opposite side, that's C, I'm now going to do the same with this one. So let's move it across a little bit, C to number 12. So just check that, C to number 12. So that's C. So the line of the edge of the sculpture, hopefully you can see that, goes across there. So that's the C, and I'm just going to just lightly sketch it in. It comes down like that. So I'm now going to go to the next one, which is next square to it, which is C11. So let's put C11 in. So that's C11, and that line seems to follow on from C12. And so you just steadily work round this and improve the line, because this isn't a kind of an impression, an approximation. So this now becomes the original. This is the one you're going to work from. So if there are any wobbles or slight changes you want to make, this is what you would then now use. So as I'm doing a sculpture, put the book away, I then made a series of templates. Now if this was a canvas or a painting, you would probably do this, but I find this is the way I work. So I've now, on another grid, I've drawn it out, and this is why this is on card, I would have cut this out. So as you can see, I've cut it out, and that will then follow this shape. So we'll have the finished shape, the outline of the sculpture, and I then use templates to make components or bits and pieces to go with it. Because this is a sculpture, and I've enlarged the little drawing up to on this grid to make a template, and it is a sculpture, so this then resolves some of the three-dimensional things that's going on. So that hopefully replicates an idea of what the drawing was, but it's now in 3 dimensions, and so now you can see the other side. So this will be used then as a guide for measurements and other things to make the mixed media sculpture. Now this method of enlarging things has been around a very long time, and I've been using it a long time. So when I was taught how to do this a long time ago, we looked to people like Barbara Hepworth. Now this is a book I purchased at Wakefield. It's a lovely gallery. It's got the Barbara Hepworth permanent collection, and this is a picture, hopefully it's in focus, of Barbara Hepworth on her sculpture, and she's constructing it flat. And this studio she's got here at St Ives is the Palais de Danse, and I believe you can go and see this studio at a hopefully in coming soon in a later date. It's not open to the public yet. Now I've been led to believe the sculpture is 21 feet high, and as you can see on the floor of her studio, she has constructed this checkerboard. Now I'm just guessing that each square is a foot, 12 inches. So, and you can just see, you may not see on the video, but there is several squares that go beyond into the perspective of this. So I think that's 21 squares. Now this is 1961, and I believe this checkerboard is still there. She's used this idea several times, and this lovely book shows it. She has a very much enlarged sculpture in her 4th Street gallery, studio, not gallery, it's a studio. And she constructed a wall, and the wall, and you may not see it but in the picture, but it has a series of similar squares going up the wall. So she's used this temporary wall as a guide to the height of the sculpture. Well, that just about concludes this demonstration. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and there's some takeaways for you. Thank you for watching.